What are the real pros and the real cons of renting to someone with Section 8? I have been doing this since 2008, so I have been able to develop my opinion over many experiences, and I am ready to share those with you. So let's get started. I live in the Detroit area. My husband and I started in 2008 with our own investment properties. In 2015, we started a property management business, and we renovate houses, we place the tenant, and then we sell the houses to people all over the world. I also am on the board of my local RIA group, Real Estate Investors Association. I am the educator for the Landlords. So in this video, I am going to share with you my own experiences of renting to someone with Section 8. I actually really do like renting to people with Section 8 because I know how to do it. I have a whole playlist. If there's a little arrow down there that you can see, that shows the whole playlist of my secrets of Section 8. Be sure you check that out for all kinds of details on knowing how to work with Section 8. But I do definitely feel that if you understand the system, you can work it and it can be really good. A majority of my tenants all have jobs. I think a lot of people think that they're just living off the system full on, but that has not been my experience. Sometimes we see that, but for the most part, they usually have a job. When investors call, when they're thinking about investing in Detroit, they'll ask me if I prefer Section 8 or not, and aren't Section 8 tenants better at this and worse at that? And like the typical one I hear is, don't they destroy the property? Well, over my experience of renting to people, I always have a rule of thumb that I rent to the first most qualified applicant, and that's not always a person with Section 8. But I do think that the way people keep houses is no different between my Section 8 tenants and my other tenants, and it's really more about how to do the background check. This is my thumbnail on how I do the background check. Be sure you check out that, maybe it's over here, the little arrow that shows you the whole playlist. When you're talking about Section 8 inspections, here's my video I did on how to pass a Section 8 inspection. It can be good or bad. So it's good for several reasons. It's good because your house has a seal saying your house is safe. We picture like if we were ever in court and somebody said it was an unsafe house, we'd say, no, here was an inspection report. Look, it's safe. Plus, we like to know that our tenants are in a safe condition. The inspections are really good too because it's a way that we are guaranteed that once a year we will definitely be in that house and we are going to know how our tenant is living. Oftentimes during that inspection time period where we're getting the house ready or making the repairs that they requested, we are also sending out lease violations. Like we found out that they have a dog that's not under our insurance. The vicious breed types we don't allow. And so that's often when we get the lease violations going and get the dogs out, and so that's a good thing. Now there are cons to these inspections. Once in a while you get a rogue inspector. There was one PHA, Public Housing Authority here in the Detroit area, that we decided we're not taking any more of their tenants because they have the worst inspector, and every tenant that would call and I'd say, oh, which PHA are you with? Because I do have this phone screen process. Look for this thumbnail in my playlist. And if they would say that one, I'd be like, yeah, sorry, can't work with that inspector. He's really ridiculous and we're used to passing inspections. And every time the tenants would say, yeah, you're not the first one that said that. And, you know, in that kind of case, I should have done what I talk about in this video, which is how to handle a bad inspector. It happens where you get bad inspectors. We typically try to just do whatever they say and not fight with them. The inspections can be bad if you are a slumlord. If you are a slumlord, you're going to go around saying, oh, it's terrible, those inspections, they're so unfair. But that, I'm sorry to tell you, you're a slumlord. They're just safety things. Sometimes the inspectors, they'll get a little cosmetic, but for the most part, they just call out safety items. And then it can be really bad if you can't pass the inspections, where there's one inspection and you didn't pass it. Usually the first one you don't pass anyway. We kind of let them go out and tell us what they want us to fix so that we're not in there doing a whole bunch of things and then they find some other thing. You don't pass the first one, then you have the second one to get it all right. But if you don't pass the second one, they do what's called abatement. And that means that you no longer get any of your rent. The landlord doesn't get the rent money. The tenant still owes her portion, but the tenants will fight with you and say, why do I have to owe my portion if they're not paying theirs and it's an unsafe place? And I can just see it in front of a judge. You know, a judge would be like, yeah, why did she? That can be really bad when that happens, because, and I have noticed that it takes Section 8 a really long time to schedule a third inspection, and you pretty much have to beg for that third inspection to have them come out and see that you actually did fix it. And that costs people money because that's a lot of missed rent. And there's really no excuse for not passing that second inspection. I was talking about when we go in to do the inspection, sometimes we have lease violations. This is, to me, a good thing about Section 8. I can say to the tenant, look, you have this lease violation. You were not supposed to do this. You know, I'm required on my HAP contract, that's in this paperwork video, to submit this to your office that you have this lease violation, which puts them at high risk of losing their voucher. And I'd like to know that they are on alert. They do not want to lose their voucher. That would be very, very bad. So they do have that motivation. Some of them, though, don't even care at all. And you're like, wow, you get all this free money and you live like that and you're risking it. Wow. Most of them are not like that, in my experience. I just want to make a note about the people on Section 8 who also do not work. Sometimes they don't work because they have a disability, and in that case, I will know from my background check, which I've got a video on that, that they also get money for the disability, and if that's enough money in the household, then I know they're able to make their own repairs. But sometimes I'll get a tenant that says, oh, yeah, I'm on maternity leave, but she seems to like never get a job after the baby's born. And those are the ones that really struggle to cut the grass and remove the snow and just do basic upkeep of a house. The ones that have disability, it's really nice because then Section 8 pays all the rent. I do think that people on Section 8 tend to stay longer in your properties. And the reason is, it's been deemed that they really can't afford to pay 100% of the rent. Section 8 says they can only pay up to 30% of the rent. Look at my video on how to get a Section 8 voucher. It kind of goes into that. It's very expensive to move, so they don't really want to move. I have a much larger pool of applicants this way. So when I put in my ad, I have a video on how to advertise to target people that have Section 8. When I put in my ad that my house is Section 8 okay and that we pass inspections, I get way more people applying. And that means way more people from whom to choose, which means I am getting by far the most qualified person out there at the time. And plus, our houses are just a lot nicer than anybody else's in Detroit. Just my opinion. Maybe I'm a little prejudiced toward our own houses, but that's what the tenants are telling us when they come to it. So I really do get the greatest pool of people from whom to choose. So here's a big con. There is a lot of downtime between qualifying somebody for the house and actually getting your first rent check. So first of all, they qualify for the house, and then I have to submit all this paperwork into Section 8. They take a few weeks on it, and they say, okay, the inspector is coming out on this day to inspect the house, and then that's a week later. So there it goes, let's see, now we're up to 4 weeks, let's say. So the inspector comes out. You don't usually pass the first, well, sometimes you pass the first time, sometimes you don't. So say add another week for the next inspection. Now we're up to 5 weeks. Okay, now the tenant needs to move in. Hopefully she can move in right then and there because that's the official day that they will start paying. So the tenant's moved in, but it can take 1 to 2, sometimes even 3 months for the people at Section 8 to do their paperwork. And that really stinks because that's how long it takes before it hits your bank account. But the good thing is we do get paid from that day that the tenant moved in. So that first check is a really nice one, and then once that's in, it's like boom, every month. It's really good. I think that the very best part of having a Section 8 tenant is that reliable money in my bank account every month. And I do like making a difference in people's lives. So those are my pros and cons. From my years of experience doing this, I would love to hear if you have other pros and cons. I'd love it if you subscribe. That way you get a notification each time one of my Secrets of Section 8 videos is published, or my other videos which are about investing in Detroit and my different house tours. I'd love it if you subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And you should check out my whole playlist here and about investing in Detroit here. and subscribe here. And here is my latest upload. Thanks for watching.